And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gamer Social Club weekly news podcast. We are recording on Thursday evening, 29th of May, 2025. And we are a full squad today. I am your host, as always, Harry, aka Neighbors Crayfish. And with us, back to join the fold, we have Mark, aka We Work the Hive. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm really good, thanks, mate. We're glad to be refreshed from holiday and glad to be back to chat games with you, fellow nerds. So, yeah, good to be here.
Excellent stuff. Good stuff. And yes, we also have, as always, uh, no empathy, only daggers. It's Lady V. How are you, V?
I'm very well, thank you. Excited to have everyone back. Actually, it'll be good fun chat. So nice to get some good speculation in for some of the stuff that's coming up at the showcases. So I'm excited.
Definitely, yeah. It's a full house. It's a busy house, and it wouldn't be complete without, of course, Adam, aka Oh no, not Addy. How you doing, my friend?
Hello, we're back. It's good to see you all again. 2 weeks on the bounce. It's like a record.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had everybody here. So yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's nice to be back, the full squad. And yeah, we'll obviously get to what we've been up to and the news and everything shortly. I will do our usual running through the rigmarole real quick. So, hello everyone, welcome. We are the Gamer Social Club. If you're new here, we are a site that covers gaming, everything basically, from news, reviews, interviews, previews, guides, and editorials. And who else knows what else we might come up with in the future. But yeah, we are a grassroots independent site. We're just driven by passion, our love of games. I wanted to share that with you. Excuse me, frog caught in my throat there. We also, when covering our games, will only review a game once we've finished it. So you can guarantee that if we've played a game, we have seen it through to the credits. Of course, if there is a natural ending to those sort of things. If it's a infinite sort of game that goes on forever, there's none of that sort of available, then we'll do what we can, of course. And finally, when it comes to news, we run everything through a no rumor filter. We don't deal with any of that. Anything that we cover, you know, is going to be solid news, truthful news from us as far as we know at the time. And of course, we always try and keep you updated as best we can with that. But yes, if you stumble across this video, hello. Yes, we do this every week. It is our weekly news podcast where we talk a little bit about the news that maybe we haven't got to, share, you know, our insights about things we've been playing, and also what we might be looking forward to in the coming weeks. There's a lot going on. Obviously, we are entering showcase season, which we will definitely be talking about, as well as some of the bigger news stories. But yeah, as far as, you know, the videos today and, you know, anything else on our channel, you know, please consider subscribing to follow along and get more of this sort of content. If you enjoy the video today, please leave a like. And if you have any questions or feedback or anything like that for us, drop it in the comments below. You'll have all of this sort of relevant information in the description below as well, along with links to any of the articles and things that we talk about today. Yeah, my beautiful stewardess Adam is just straight to the relevant sections of the craft. And of course, we are also on social media, so you can follow us at Twitter, on Twitter, sorry, at gamer_est_c, and also on Blue Sky and Threads at Gamer Social Club. We also have a Facebook page, and of course, our YouTube channel here, and of course, our actual account, www.gamersocialclub.ca. So yeah, and again, all of our socials as well for each of us here will be in the description, as I said below. But yeah, with that, I believe is the complete rigmarole, which again is a rarity for me. So, you know, I'm pleased that seemed to go off without a hitch. But yeah, we can now smoothly transition into what we've been playing. I've only been playing a little thing right now, which I'll definitely be covering for a review. But I know, for example, that Mark, who of course has just got back from his holes, is also playing a game that he's been looking forward to and would maybe want to start it off with.
Yeah, cheers, Harry. Yeah, what's been away, been trying to get stuck into a few Switch games, finished up Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, and made inroads in Luigi's Mansion 3. But nice to be back and sat on the couch with a real game controller rather than these arthritis-inducing Joy-Cons. So glad to see the back of them for a while. But yeah, since I've been back, been getting stuck into a T. which is a game I've been looking forward to for some time. Got to play this back at London Games Fest and have been on my radar for quite some time before that. It's an Annapurna published game, so it's going to be quirky and a little bit different. And it's made by Uvala, who I think made the Katamari games, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Or one of some of the same developers were back on the Katamari team, so it's got that art style and it looks it's really really quirky looking characters. But the premise of the game is you're a character stuck in a T position, and for the cringy camera shot, they're basically holding their arms out like this persistently and trying to complete mundane tasks while stuck in that position. It's certainly not very easy, but you've got your trusty dog with you to help you brush your teeth and complete the morning rituals, or rigmaroles, I guess is the right word for this podcast. But yeah, so far it's been really good. It's an episodic game. There's 8 episodes. I've got through 3 in a couple of evening sittings, and yeah, the story's going well. It's about a young girl who's not enjoying school, having a bit of a difficult time with some bullies. There's some kind of life is strange supernatural stuff going on in the background, which is quite interesting. Haven't really worked out where that's going yet, but I'm sure that will come to light. But yeah, it's got good humor, good kind of humorous writing, and so far been enjoying it. Hoping to have a review up on the site by early next week. There's already a few guides that I've done for some of the miscellaneous achievements, and all those are on the on the website already. But yeah, really enjoying it. It's on Game Pass for console, and I'm sure PC as well. And it's on Steam. It's not on PlayStation or Switch, but I'm sure it will follow at some stage. But yeah, if you've got Game Pass, want to check it out, looks like it's going to be a good 6-7 hours of fun. And yeah, that's been my gaming time since being back home. So that's been me.
Yeah, the 2T sounds like lovely. And again, looking over your guides and stuff like that when you first asked me earlier today or yesterday to look through them, and I was reading through them, I was like, this sounds like so sort of like charming. It's just such a sort of sweet kind of premise. Taking a kind of classic almost joke premise, like with video games and the T pose and stuff like that you get when something glitches out and you just got this figure in front of you just stuck in a ridiculous position, and running and like making a whole game around that just sounds really fun. And yeah, interesting to see what you think of it by the end and read your reviews, just to see where you are now, so chapter 3, then getting all the way through to chapter 8, and those like different elements of it, like as you said, the slightly more like possibly supernatural stuff going on. Does that land by the end of it, or is it just a bit of like lighthearted fun that you enjoy throughout? It'd be interesting to see like the full scope of the game, as it were, with just that as its initial premise. Like, what's the general gameplay like? Is it kind of puzzly? Is it kind of more like just sort of? Is it kind of like the what they call the Ben Foddy games? Like the QWOP and that sort of stuff. Is it that sort of thing?
It's very much an adventure game. So you've got like a list of objectives and normally like a main path to follow, and your little very cute dog is leading you along the way. But it kind of it's very much an adventure game based on 8 days in various times of this kid's life. So um, yeah, it's an adventure game in its core.
That's interesting.
And,
Yeah, I definitely want to try it out. And it's on Game Pass, so like easy to try and just download it and find a few hours, as you say. So yeah, that sounds really nice.
I just
Yeah.
want to know what it's full of giraffes, and I don't know what the giraffes are really doing yet. So there's lots of giraffes who are living in the town who sell ice cream and sandwiches. I don't really know what they're doing yet, but I'm sure that will come to light a little bit later on.
Yeah. Layers. There's layers. But yeah, in that case, Adam, what about you, man? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Well, I haven't been playing that much, really. I've not had much chance. Busy old week with work and social life. Got to go to a festival and rock out, which is always fun. I've been going back over my captures of Spirit of the North 2 to kind of help people with some of our guides. Some people had trouble finding some stuff, so managed to update and correct a few locations for some of the guides, which has been helpful. So thank you to people who've been helping and commenting on that, because it's always good to know what's working and what's not working in your descriptions. That's how you learn, isn't it? But in terms of actually playing anything, the only downtime I've had is when I've been splish splashing in the bath, or kind of
eating raspberry ripple ice cream in the bath and taunting us all with the fact that we don't have ice cream.
Like a deplorable so and so. And also like when I've been like having a wind down in bed, which is a weird way to phrase that. I just realised
that was woohooey. Hey,
which
we're off the watershed. We're okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. When I'm in bed, I like to have a wind down.
Yeah.
Danny says vulgarity.
And I'm going to crack out my backbone, which is what I call it. And I've been. There we go. I think we found Steve's favourite section. I've been playing some. I've gone back to Blatro because I was trying because I know I've been playing some Final Fantasy, but I wasn't feeling it. I'm just tired at the moment. So I thought I'll do some Blatro because it's kind of quick and you can fuck it up and carry on, or you can actually do well. But it's kind of like, it reminded me, like I was just saying before we started, I've just rediscovered that flush is a hand you can play, and I think that's one of those. You either need, like, you can look at all the hands and stuff, and I keep forgetting to do that, like with all your things you can submit. But it's like one of those. It reminded me of when you haven't played a game for ages, and there should be like you spent 3 weeks from not playing. Do you want a refresh of what the hell's going on? Like, that'd be great. Please remind me how to play the game. I've had 3 or 4 successful runs. Trying to work through all the challenges challenges. I haven't unlocked any challenges yet because I haven't done all 5 of the winning decks thing to unlock the challenges. That's what I'm working on for the starters. Still early days yet, but yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. It's very addictive, isn't it? Just one more go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we have now discovered though that you obviously don't play poker. So if the next time we go out for a team night out, we cannot take you to the casino.
We can, which will go well. I mean, I've had a really good meal at a casino, and I lost 50 quid, and that was on the meal. It was like a sesame seed encrusted tuna. It was really good. But yeah, I lost 50 quid because my mate wanted to go for his birthday, and we were like, well, yeah, let's try that, and I just lost lots of money. Like, I don't understand odds.
Or hands in poker.
Or hands in poker. Why don't you just go for the 2 pair? Like, because that's such an easy one to get, and let's build my jokers around the 2 pair, because like I'm gonna get a 2 pair, like, or I can discard to get it, and then always when I'm facing the boss blind, it's like, nope, all your 2 pairs have gone. Like that. I'd always fail. Like, come on. But yeah, it's good, very addictive. I can see why it's popular with folk. Also, I think gambling is an addiction. So, like, you know.
Yep.
Can you imagine if they were like really like? Can you imagine if they were really predatory microtransactions in that game? Can you imagine how fucked people would be? Just like, like getting into debt just to get another, like, oh, just give me another go, man, I can do it. Can you imagine if it was like an actual? If you had to bet your money to play, it'd be awful.
Well, there was the bit when not long after it came out, and then it got set to like rated 18 plus. In Europe because
gambling.
Because it's gambling. Where it's just like, a loot box in Overwatch or something like that is gambling, and that's fine. This is just like, oh, we use poker, and nobody's and it's not teaching you how to play actual poker.
No. You actually go to the casino going, where's my jokers? Why haven't I got the joker that gives me like triple points or whatever?
Just putting red seal stamps on all the cards, being like, no, that gives triple points. That's got a red seal on it. Like, just like,
I'm sure you understand.
Yeah.
Security guards never move so fast.
Yeah. It's another one. We got another Jimbo. Oh dear. Well, no, I mean, I know you've been hard at work going back over your guides, and you did an incredible job with those, and credit to you, and credit to the people who've actually been commenting, obviously asking for help and stuff like that, because they've been very cool about it seems, in general. So it's nice having that.
A lot of people saying just thank you as well, like, because I don't think there's been many there's not been much coverage in terms of guides. Well, so far, I think, from Spirit of the North 2, because there's been so many games coming out. So that we've had something that people have found useful. I mean, for me, it's been great because it's just been like, oh, okay. You're right, stuff. You're like, is that landing with people? And people are telling you that it's helpful. So like, I'm getting the achievements because of this. Like, yes, that's what you want to see, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's why we do it.
Addiction.
Yeah, it's why we do it. It's why I enjoy guides. Honestly, it is. I like knowing that there's a bunch of people who are looking for something, they need help, and they find it, and even if they haven't said a word, that a lot of people have gone and managed to do the thing that they set out to do, and it's nice to be part of that. And proof to that. Real quick, of course, this month has been our best month. We talked a bit about it on social media, but yeah, we hit a big milestone for the site, which was 100,000 views within a month, which is a big deal for us. It's a very big deal. So we're all very chuffed. It's huge. And looking back on it, it's something we've been working towards, but probably didn't think it was going to happen quite so quickly. So yeah, fingers crossed we're able to keep doing what we're doing, and everyone out there seems to like it and find it, and hopefully more people can join in, and we can continue to do what we do. But yeah, to sort of finish off, then be like, what have you been playing? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot. I did my review for Blades of Fire. Was that earlier on this week? All the days have merged into one big day.
Yeah. I think it was last week, if I remember, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So, but that's all up on the site now and things like that. I've jumped in a little bit. I had some achievement issues. Sometimes when you play a game in early access for review, because you have to play it offline, and because the achievements are not supported when you play, I think it messes up some of the flags. So the majority of the story-based achievements did not pop. So I'm going to have to, at some point, when I get the time, go back and do a second story playthrough of Blades of Fire, which is fine because it's a fun game and I did enjoy it. I also dived back into Blueprints for a little bit this week, and had just a very long session during the day where I feel like I achieved a huge amount, but I have no idea what it means. So it's just like a lot of end game puzzles that you have to do lots and lots of weird things around the house in order to unlock them. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but there's like some bits and bobs relating to chess pieces, which I'm sure people will have noticed in the rooms. And Harry can attest to this, that I have been obsessed with the chess pieces the entire time playing the game, being like, there's something here. I feel like I know how to do this, but I managed to do the thing that I thought was there earlier on this week, and I was super proud of myself. And then it got to me to a new area, and I was just like, "All right, this means nothing to me." What do you mean?
Not the reveal I was hoping for.
But I'm sure I'll figure it out later. If I have any time to play it over the next month, and then I might have forgotten everything, much like Addy said, we need a refresh button when we go back into video games, because I have just started playing The Alters, which I will be reviewing. So that's from the guys who made Frostpunk, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's a sort of survival game where you have to make alternative versions of yourself in order to survive. So obviously can't say much about it because, one, I've not actually started it yet, but we are reviewing it. I'm going to be starting it tomorrow. But two, obviously all of the details will be under embargo until our review launches, but they were nice enough to let us know that we can tell people we are reviewing it. So that's something we can look forward to going forward if you're interested in that game.
There we go. So yeah, little teaser things to come, obviously. And I'll drop a little one here. Nothing quite as exciting maybe as The Alters, but I've been playing a little puzzle game that came out. It launched today called Trails. It's out on Steam. Don't think it's on consoles or anything just yet. But yeah, it's a cute little isometric kind of grid-based puzzle game where you guide little sort of almost like sailboats across sort of basically sandy deserts, actually, which is quite an interesting sort of premise and like that. But it's all done on a sort of everything moves at the same time, and you have to get one ship to its respective sort of dock, as it were, but they can't go back over a square they've been on previously, and obviously you don't want to crash into each other. And as the levels continue, it sort of introduces other concepts like burners that spout fire, and you can hit buttons to turn them off, but then also turn them back on again. You have to collect water, take it to a depot to drop it off before then going to your little pier dock area. And it has a couple of side levels. I think there's coins you can try and get. You have to like carry them on your ship back, but you can only carry one item at a time, and you'll drop something if you pick up something else. A lot of strategy, more like tactical kind of placement involved, and you have like a rewind function. You can look at it step by step and all sorts of things. It's very interesting, but a sort of game I could play for a half an hour to an hour chunk, and by the end of that time, my brain is just starting to kind of melt a little bit. Because I've been looking at these grids for too long, and these lines are now just starting to blur, and I can't remember what's moving at what pace, and things start stopping, and it gets a bit too much. But you can definitely expect a review about that probably from me, possibly by the end of the week. Let's see how long it takes me to finish it. But yeah, obviously, we've already mentioned a few times, there is a lot to come with the showcase season, which is now certainly upon us. We've already covered, I think, 3 showcases thus far. We've only 2, is it? We did the
Thinky and
Thinky Direct, which happened today. I did an article about.
And Tiny Build Connect, which was on Tuesday, that I did a summary of yesterday.
Yep, the Tiny Build one, and then I believe we also did one covering the 6-1 indie one, but we mentioned I think last week as well. But yeah, so there's already been a handful, but that is very much the tip of the iceberg, especially with the Thinky Games, which is actually the opening event for the Cerebral Puzzle Showcase, which is a week-long event starting today and finishing on June 5th, which they tout to have over 300 games across. So yeah, we will be doing what we can.
Too many games.
We will be doing
too many games, man.
And this is just puzzle games, everybody. That's just puzzle games. So yeah.
You go into a jigsaw shop and they've got like 300 jigsaws on sale. Is it all just jigsaws?
Yeah,
they've got 300
assorted jigsaws.
Is it like that?
Assorted jigsaws, word searches, connect the dots. Yeah. Oh, you wish. No, I'm afraid if anything, every other game is a deck builder. That's pretty much what we're dealing with now. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's either roguelike or a deck builder.
So many.
Yeah.
It's a roguelike deck builder. Come on, don't be ridiculous. Why not put them both together? Like
we've never done that.
Slay the Spire 2 is coming out this year, and Monster Train 2 just come out. So if you're planning on doing a roguelike deck builder this year, I feel like maybe not the best year to launch it. Yeah. As soon as Slay the Spire 2 comes out, I'm going to message the rest of the chat being like, you're not going to see me for 2 weeks. I'm so sorry.
This is who I am. Yeah. Sorry, Mark, I think we cut you off earlier. What were you saying?
Oh no, it's just a comment on the showcases. It's like if there's 300 games in this one alone, and then obviously all the other showcases as well, like how do these games like actually garner any like traction anyway? Because there's so bloody many things going on.
Exactly.
It's nuts. I don't know how they stand out anymore. It's crazy, but I mean we'll cover them for you on the site. But
yeah, we're gonna do our darndest.
I don't know how they stand out anymore.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, there's 19. I've counted 19 showcases from this week until the 11th of June.
Yeah, it's not even halfway through the month.
I'm not even halfway through them. So, like, there's probably not as many after that because then it takes a break until Gamescom and Opening Night Live and stuff like that. But if there's a direct from Nintendo, if Sony decide to remember that they're a games company and they actually put out something this year and they're like, oh yeah, we should probably let people know what we're working on, then we might have something from them. We've got the Switch 2 coming out, so we're expecting some traction around that. What's coming next for that? There's going to be lots of stuff. But like Mark says, and I've said this before, how? It's just 300 games. I mean, some of these 300 games. Some of these showcases got like 70 in them, in like in a small amount of less than a minute each. And you're like, how are you supposed to, like 300 games? How are you supposed to know? Like, how are you supposed to get like? Just I don't get it. Like covering it is one thing, but like is she selling your game? Like there's the whole conversation that was kind of doing the rounds on Twitter today about Clay Obscure and like True Achievements put out an article saying well, we shouldn't overlook Microsoft's part in this. And it's easy to dig at Microsoft because they are dicks sometimes with like the layoffs and the multi-trillion-dollar company who can't hold the staff because they just want to make money or whatever. But like because they put Clay Obscure in the game showcase, and the Kepler themselves said because of the traction it gained from that really helped us gain interest, and that's helped in Game Pass and everybody get to play it. That's made a big difference to that game. But like 300 games just in one thing alone isn't getting that view, isn't it? Because it's too many, people will only focus on the big ones. They'll go to Summer Games Fest, they'll watch the Xbox One, and then they'll maybe pick up a couple of others, but then it's up to them just to catch something on the fly by accident if they are interested in whatever else. It's too much. There's just so many hours of games there, isn't there? In just watching what's coming out.
Yeah. I saw someone online. I saw someone online say they preferred when we had the Xbox Developer Direct, and then a few weeks later there was like the Sony State of Play or the Sony Showcase, and they were like they preferred the Sony Showcase because it showed more games. And I was like, I feel like, are you going to play? How many of these are you going to play? I do think that 19,000 games were launched on Steam last year. Like that's a huge amount, and I'm not saying I want less games. Like I'm also sure some of those were like shovelware and like AI slop repurposed from asset packs and stuff. But people most of the time put a huge lot of time and passion into games, and if they get 30 seconds of a slot at a showcase, people might miss it and they're not going to watch the full thing, and then they deserve more of a chance to get in front of their target audience.
Do like what I liked about, I don't know if Sony will do a showcase again until like maybe the PS6 thing, because they need like the showcase was a big event, wasn't it? It was kind of like compared to the State of Plays.
Oh yeah.
And like it'd be great because I feel like the Developer Direct feels really right, doesn't it? There's 4 or 5 games, maybe a couple of surprises, and then you're actually getting a deep dive on the game itself. You're giving it some time and some energy. If you did that regularly, and I know there's a lot of work goes into those, but like if you did like a streamlined version of that for like you can have your big showcase in the summer to kind of like here's 90 minutes of what's coming to Xbox, but you'll get the people will be watching that. And then if you do your Dev Direct, it's sponsored by Xbox and it's that thing. You could do more deep dive, but more regularly around the games rather than going, here's 1,000 games in 7 days. Good luck finding anything other to talk about than the big things that were at the big ones. That just feels like there's a better way to do it. But I've said that before.
I just wonder why some of these other smaller showcases want to go at the same time. I don't like. It's not like they couldn't have gone now or like 2 weeks ago when there's everything else going on, and the Switch 2 is just going to dominate the internet chatter next week, I would imagine, and then it'll be straight into showcase weekend and the week after. But just do it a few weeks early, man. It's just I don't know, saturation station now, I think.
There are two showcases happening at the same time next week. One of them is on Summer Games Fest, and the other one is the Future Game Showcase. It's just happening at the same time as the Green Games Showcase. And you're like, what are you doing? Just look. Like, give each other the space, man. Like, you can't be you can have 2 screens open, but you're not watching that nonsense, are you?
It's nice to know that.
Well, I reckon you could do 2 showcases at once, Eddie.
That's the
Did you not put your name? Did you not put your name down for both of them, Addy? You had your name down for everything else.
Yeah, but I was just going to write them when I could, not this.
It's nice to know that even these massive companies still have the same issue that I have at work, whereas no one looks at each other's calendar and just sticks a meeting in your diary without even caring. And then being annoyed that you can't meet it because you've got a clash.
And we don't even have a calendar here.
It's like only there was a place where people are advertising what games, what showcases are happening during this branded event.
I know, right? I completely agree. It's a great example of the amount of saturation that is. You hear about it a lot, obviously, with the amount of games that get released every year on Steam and how every year goes up like tenfold practically, or whatever, fivefold or something. But yeah, the amount of showcases going on, it does feel it gets to a point where it's like, what is max capacity? Like, how is there a point where this starts to hinder more than help and things like that? And I can appreciate that with a lot of these smaller ones, a lot of the ones we've already covered, but also more there's still to come. They're trying their best to highlight games that already struggle to get limelight on them in the first place. And so they're creating these events in order to try and get these smaller games out there in front of people. It's how we do find out about things like, the mouse PI game, for example, something like that is possibly going to get picked up by Xbox or PlayStation if they're doing their rounds and trying to find their little prospective, like, indie darlings, or they're like, oh, hey, like we need games from our, the Asia Hero project, or the, India Hero project, or whatever other projects that PlayStation has. I know they've got 3 or 4 of those going on. And then obviously Xbox reaching out to whoever they can. But yeah, it just, I feel like I think you're all right. You've got to spread that out. You don't want to have it all stacking on top of each other. They all get lost amongst each other. Yeah, I just feel like there could have been something done about this. But at the same time, a lot of these are then also happening at this time to lead into other things like Steam Next Fest, which is obviously at the tail end of this month. And it's like, when a lot of these games are going like, right, well, now, well, not the tail end, sorry, just in June and everything like that. So it's like, we've got to get ready. We've got to get our name out there. We need to start what marketing mill we can pull together for our little indie game. And, getting a chance to be on a showcase of any size, I think, is obviously going to be worthwhile. But yeah, the practical, logistical nature of them all being within the space of a fortnight, like that's absurd. That's ridiculous. Yeah, we're able to spread out award shows. Like, I don't see why we can't spread out showcases and stuff like that. So I understand that, again, there might be timing for certain things. Absolutely, I get it. But maybe we can think of some slightly more kind of guerrilla viral marketing, sort of variations on these things. Maybe we can break them down into smaller events and spread them out a little bit more. So several, updates as opposed to showcases or something like that. Like sort of the state of play to the PlayStation showcase kind of idea, but then for these smaller games, theme them. I really like Thinky Games, the Thinky Direct. I really like that because they were literally like, we want to do the first ever purely puzzle, genre, like, or anything attributed to that, whether it's like a push block puzzle game to a detective game to a match 3 game, whatever it might be. But we want to cover all of these in a single showcase as a genre piece, as it were. And I'm like, that I think is great. Cerebral Puzzle Showcase, doing a week-long thing covering 300 games, astounding. It's like, wow, that's incredible. I'm excited to see how it does. I know that this isn't the first time it's happened. It's just like, it seems like such a grand undertaking, and this is more games than they had last time. And I just wonder, like, yeah, I'm interested to see how this all plays out. This one's really exciting and interesting to me. We've seen a lot of these other showcases before, but with how big this is, I'm just like, yeah, how this is a jumbo jet we're trying to get off the ground here. It feels like
just like, have you do Thinky Direct like as like the starting point for the year, and then every day this is the Thinky game of the day, and really I have a marketing day of it, like really big it up and talk about it on the social medias, like do regular comment, like tweets, like different elements throughout the day so people get to see.
Yeah.
And like everyone, you could plan a full, like a whole year worth of content, but every day a game gets its chance to shine and talk about it and stuff like that. That's much better to me than here's 300 and there's 21 in the Thinky Direct, and then maybe you'll remember 3 or 4 more. Like, I don't like it. Just feels maybe a little unfair either. That's a lot to cram in, doesn't it?
It's a lot. It is. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Gosh, if you were able to have the sort of setup and infrastructure where you could have a the cerebral puzzle games calendar. So they literally had 365 games or whatever that were all assigned a day with their relative information. So that it was like, we're going to highlight, to a T, which released today, or we're going to highlight Monolith, which is a game that was announced at the Thinking Direct, which basically to me looks like another great looking Animal World style game. And immediately I was like, oh, this is newly announced. No one knew about this. This is really cool. Like, this is something that people should be interested in. And it's like, it was in the middle of this brilliant little, direct. But I don't know how many people will have, seen it, knowing how much is to come and all the rest of it. It's a lot.
Yeah. The other thing for me as well is I'll be counting, because it really annoyed me last year when I covered like 8 out of 10 showcases or something over the Summer Game Fest thing.
Yeah.
And it really annoyed me when a game came up again. Like if every showcase didn't have there was like a no repeat guarantee. Like I'm from bloody Radio 1 or something. Like no repeat guarantee. But like every game you're seeing is going to be unique to whatever else is going on. But that would take some sort of communication. But like the devs know if their game is going in multiple showcases, right? But you'd be annoyed. You start seeing, because then people go, oh well, that showcase was rubbish. They showed the same footage I already saw yesterday. Like, yeah, fair enough. Like there was one game I can't remember which one it was. It appeared like 4 showcase. Like what's that cost you? And it doesn't need to be in 4 showcase. Like, come on. Like, I don't remember the name of it. It's not done. It's not worked.
I think that mouse for PI one. I've seen that in about 6 or 7 different things. It just turns up everywhere. You just you wonder kind of what else have you got to show now? Like, come on, just get the game out.
Yeah. All right. That wasn't actually our news segment, even though we've definitely got into it there with the showcases. But I think it was worthwhile. We were going to do it at the end, but actually that kind of happened anyway. So that was good. But you can know now that we're going to do our best to cover as many of the showcases as humanly possible. Adam made a brilliant little calendar for us where we then all, took a moment to realize what we were getting ourselves in for. But hey, 'tis the season.
Well, all covered summaries and showcases. There is a kind of master article on the website, which has got a list of all the showcases, and as we complete our summaries, we'll link them to that so you can find them all in one place. So if you go there now, it's top of the shop at the moment on the website. You can bookmark it and then return to that, and we'll have a new summary every day, or in line with the dates on the calendar. So hopefully. It's the plan.
Yeah, we are really putting together to try and do everything we can throughout the rest of this month and June, because there is going to be a lot of news, and most of it is going to be around the showcases, but there will be stuff otherwise sprinkled in between and all the rest of it, as is the story that we're going into now, which unfortunately is a bit of a tonal shift, I'm afraid. But if you didn't get the impression earlier, we're in a little bit of a ranty mood here. So if you'll forgive us, we're going to sort of test pilot a bit of a venting session here and see how that rolls, because we are going to be talking about the unfortunate cancellation of the Black Panther game and the subsequent closure as well of the studio, which was it Cliffhanger Studios?
Yes.
The studios or games?
Cliffhanger Games.
Cliffhanger Games. Thank you. Who were originally set up by EA, their publisher, their parent company, in order to make a Black Panther game, which was originally announced back in 2023. Today, it was announced that both things are now gone. They will not be seeing the light of day. And again, the statement was, an email was sent out to the relative team members and stuff like that from EA to explain the changes, what their shift in market strategy and all manner of things, as is always the case. That's sort of something that we've all been kind of reeling from. I did say it was today that was announced. It wasn't announced today. We've been sort of talking about it today, and more news has come out about it today. More details from members of the team and stuff like that have been coming out today. So apologies for that. Need to make that correction. But yeah, obviously, this is also not the Black Panther and Captain America 1943 game being helmed by Amy Hennig and her studio. That is a different game. That is, I think, now supposedly meant to be coming out next year. It has been delayed out of this year at least. So yeah, not that one. Different Black Panther game. But yeah, who wants to start off with this one, and how do we want to approach this? Because I think there's a number of different things, obviously, that people want to probably say. Does anybody want to lead off with talking about the game itself first, or do they want to talk about EA? You know, where do people want to begin? Mark, I give you first stab.
I think it's always the first thing to say in these situations is, you know, thoughts of people that are probably going to lose their positions. I think EA said they're going to have a look for internally for other roles for these people, but you know, it's a real shame for them if they've been passionate about this project and they get either laid off or moved on to something completely new, probably making FIFA coin packs or some other bullshit. But yeah, you know, it's really unfortunate. I think specifically to the game itself, we didn't really know anything about it. There was nothing ever really revealed. It was known that it was happening. And I think given that Black Panther's making an appearance in 1943, the Amy Hennig game, I kind of wonder whether there's been a decision around having too much Black Panther, and then they just want to focus their efforts on what might have been looking a more promising title internally. And typically, when you know a game's been announced but not actually shown for a year or two, like the Black Panther game, that is commonly quite a negative sign. I think we've expecting a lot of other superhero games over the next few years. Wolverine, the Iron Man game, still in development, and that'll probably be pretty big as well from EA. As with the 1943 game mentioned a moment ago. So I wonder whether it just wasn't really working out for the game internally, and that they've looked to move the, you know, I think EA are looking to kind of rationalize their efforts anyway, and they've spoke about this on a number of occasions recently. And I think a lot of other publishers like Ubisoft are doing the same, but maybe it just wasn't working out internally for the title. And although it's a real shame for the studio, and EA continue to make, you know, step on rakes all the time lately. I think maybe if the game wasn't working out, it might be one of the best things. But yeah, it's just a real shame, real shame. Another big superhero game after Wonder Woman is not going to see the light of day. Real shame.
I think there's probably something to be said about superhero fatigue in line with it. You know, superhero movies aren't doing as well as they were probably when all of these deals were signed. But also, I think Daniel mentioned it on his Twitter, just some of the challenges that come around licensed titles specifically. And, you know, how that affects game development that wouldn't affect it the way things are normally. But it's just it's really there have been people laid off that are not necessarily just part of that team, but I think EA has made this as their second round of layoffs this year, to focus in on, as you said, Mark, like a smaller selection of games. And, you know, it's like, okay, that's fine, but also that smaller selection of games is like, you know, pretty just how can we fit as much microtransaction stuff into these things as humanly possible? Just like Battlefield, The Sims, Apex Legends. You know, it's not necessarily about giving the people that work there the creative freedom to make fantastic games. It's like we want line to go up. So you're all getting, as you say, like bundled into making FIFA card packs or something like that, which is not ideal.
Yeah. I do wonder if I wonder when this project was first started. Like, I know it was announced in 2023, but obviously they'll have made some progress on it before they get to the point where they're going to announce it. And I wonder if the excitement around Black Panther that made them greenlit the game was around Chadwick Boseman, and then when he unfortunately died, and then they've had to shift how the kind of the films moved forward, because obviously I think they did obviously not plan for that to happen, and you know, but I wonder if the kind of hype around Black Panther died down a little bit as a result of that, because it's not the same person that was bringing that kind of energy. Not there's anything wrong with the second one. You know, I really enjoyed it, but I wonder if that from a businessy type, you know, nasty execs who don't really pay attention sort of thing was like, oh well, it's not as exciting anymore, so we'll you know, equally though, I wonder if the what you were saying, Matt, made me think. I wonder if it's too much Black Panther, but were they planning to? I wonder if it was to try to connect the games. If there's like a Black Panther game and then Black Panther's in 1943, was there going to be some sort of, you know, MCU for games type thing where the connected type thing, and they thought, maybe that's not going to work, or maybe that's too much, or like you say, because the track streamline, they're making it over complicated. But equally, it could have been a dud. We don't know because, like you say, we haven't seen it. So it could have been actually this isn't landing as we were hoping. It's hard to know, isn't it? We go back to the days of the 360 when every film got a game, and those generally weren't great, but they were much quicker to churn out back then. From what I could surmise compared to now. But yeah, they're just the thoughts I'd had around it. It's a shame because obviously you feel for a studio, you feel for all the people affected, and like, what's that? And I think I saw it on Twitter earlier. Like, what's that doing to the morale of the studios that everyone's still connected to? Like, are we up next? How are you meant to carry on and be creative and do something you love when you're thinking I could be for the chop next? It must be hard at the moment for them. So I feel for those guys.
Yeah, it's the same kind of stuff that gets brought up every time. These questions about job security and, you know, whether or not the project you're working on have been working on for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years could suddenly just all disappear overnight, and you have nothing to show for it as well, which is also such a sort of salt in the wound. I feel like when it comes to the situation where you've done all this time, especially if you're someone who's done a bunch of, you know, art for the game or music or, you know, voice acting or mocap or anything like that, even just programming, writing, all of that just gets shoved away in a vault, NDA'd, and, you know, to eternity. You know, you can't talk about this for 20 years, sort of thing. And it's devastating to those people because this stuff is vital for then finding your next job. Like, that's just a huge chunk of time that disappears. Like going for a job interview and they're like, oh, what were you doing between the years of 2003, 2006? Oh, I can't tell you. I'm under NDA. It was a project that never came out. What was it? Can't tell you. Can you tell us what sort of art you did? No. Like, these are the killer things that like totally destroy careers in these fields. Not because the people who are looking at these people are like, oh, well, we don't trust you about it, but just simply because if you have big gaps like that, where are you getting your income from afterwards? Like, you've either got to have a solid enough reputation already that people know who you are and respect your work from other previous projects, that they're happy to, you know, pick you up for a new thing, or, you know, as Mark mentioned, you know, hopefully find something maybe still within the same, you know, sort of umbrella of the company that you are part of, you know, but just at a different studio or working on a different game now, whether it might be, you know, now you're doing skins for Apex Legends or something like that. You know, we brought up again, the licensing thing. You know, we moved on, as Addy said, from the days of the 360 when, you know, they were very much treated as, video games were not treated as an entity unto themselves. They were part of the marketing for the film. They were absolutely just more toys in the toy shop. You know, they were the Happy Meal. Now they are treated differently, obviously, and rightfully so, obviously, from our point of view. But unfortunately, it doesn't make them any less, you know, safe, or any more safe, any safer. Gosh, to not be, unfortunately, just, you know, shut down and have everything just disappear like that. And it raises then questions, I think, with obviously being a Marvel project, being part of a deal that was signed between EA and Disney regarding, I think, 3 games that they were meant to be developing, and this was one of them. We assume. Is it just a simple matter of like, oh, we just don't count that one anymore and we just make another one? Or was that part of the contract that it had to be that game, a Black Panther game, or a game by that studio? Who knows? Like, but obviously this is all in black and white somewhere, but, you know, we're not privy to it necessarily. And it makes me wonder, like,
formed that studio for that game, I believe.
Yeah,
they were, exactly, yeah. So, you know, was that part of it? You know, oh, we're gonna set up a whole new studio and everything like that, and we're gonna make a game. Does that mean they're gonna have to do it again? are they going to have to make a whole new studio again to make a game for this other Disney project if they have to do that? Again, who knows what other stuff's going on around this, but it raises other questions. You know, how involved with Disney in this discussion? I assume quite heavily.
Yeah.
You know, so
They said
it sort of
there's still 3 being worked on. So they've got the Iron Man one, 1943,
And an
there's another
unnamed
one
game.
I
Yeah.
don't. Do we know what that one is, or is that still?
I don't think so. I don't think we have
No.
any hard facts about it. I think there's probably been maybe speculation at most. I think I've seen people being like, oh, it's like a Fantastic Four or something like that. I think because they wanted to do like something else, like oh, with like a squad or something like that. It's like that's not going to happen. That's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, that's just flagrant rumor. That's just people wishing for stuff. That just won't happen, I'm afraid. So I don't know. Like I think of all the times, and obviously we've had, you know, what I think would be an excellent sort of superhero-based games at a time where maybe we were not quite at the fatigue stage, like the Guardians of the Galaxy game we had, which I thought was excellent. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate that people wanted to play as other characters as well. Absolutely, it was somewhat limiting in that respect, but I thought for what they did with the, a 5-character party single-player game, they did a really good job of that, and yet that again is something that we're going to see even less of again from those sort of studios because they're not going to want to take the risk. Yeah.
I think it also shows how different, like how the fact that games take longer to develop now is so greatly hampered by like the way that corporate business expects to see financial results. So when they formed the studio, because it was the guy who used to head up Monolith, Kevin Stevens, he was the head of this new studio. And I've got like the sort of announcement article of that up now. And the statement from EA was the action adventure space is hugely important genre in our industry and to us at EA. And this was only 4 years ago. So, that's like the company's strategy has shifted massively in only 4 years, but we know it takes significantly more than that to develop a game now. So are we going to see, just as games take longer and longer to develop, as businesses try and chase trends, they can't chase them in time, and then a new CEO comes in, or a new head of like whatever studio or the games part of EA, or even Sony, when they were like, we're doing 7,000 live service games, it's going to be great, to then turn around and be like, oh shit, strategy's changed, so everything's cancelled. And as you said, Harry, that means all of your work is gone and there's nothing we can do about it, because a game takes 7 years to develop and number has not went up significantly enough for stakeholders within the last year. So we're pivoting, we're changing strategy massively. So you guys all have to go and work on something else. And it's just like, well, that's unsustainable in the industry the way that it is.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be chasing continual infinite growth. It doesn't fucking work in any industry. But to then turn around and be like, oh well, we didn't get any growth in this area. It's like, you didn't fucking release anything in that area because it's not enough time. Yeah. But we're just going to cancel all the games because actually we know that Apex Legends makes us money until it stops making us money, and then we can't do anything with it.
So needs to have a fucking word with these CEOs, though, don't they? Because like these are all these execs that are making these decisions, but not actually talking to the people who are making you the fucking money. Like, yeah. Also, like you say, second law of thermodynamics. Like, an economy based on endless growth is unsustainable. It doesn't work. You can't do it.
Okay.
No, you're right. But Mark, you wanted to say something. I can see. Go on.
I think it probably goes back a couple of steps now, but I was going to make the thing up on what you said, Harry. I think it was you on like superhero fatigue, and I think if you look at what the recent superhero games have been, so the probably the 3 biggest of the last few years. So Guardians of the Galaxy, fantastic game, loved it, sold like shit. Avengers game really underperformed, and then Suicide Squad was a bit of a mess. I mean, I never played it, so I can't comment how it actually played, but by all accounts didn't really succeed at all and was killed as a live service thing. So I just wonder, whether the kind of the superhero area is really just kind of not somewhere that people want to progress games in. And obviously Wolverine's being worked on away somewhere, but you'd think being an Insomniac game, they'd be, putting their foot to the pedal and getting something out for us to see, but it's gone so quiet. And aside from the Spider-Man games, which have done really well, like great games, sold well as well, and rightfully so, I just don't really think there's that much succeeding at all in the superhero space, which is a real shame. But I think it's very much a hostage to the performance and the cinema screens of Marvel movies and DC as well, which I think probably just doing about the same as Marvel from what I know.
But it's, to me, those that you've listed, like the Spider-Man's a really good example that maybe there isn't the superhero fatigue, because I don't know if there is. I think it's the way that those games have been built, not necessarily Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's great, and I just don't know why it didn't. Maybe because it didn't look like Chris Pratt, so therefore it wasn't the same. Do you know?
We need more Chris Pratt, like in our houses.
Yeah, it's something else from Detroit. The thing that Suicide Squad was, my big issue with Suicide Squad was just like just smashing in the live service stuff around it. Like making that a live service game was the hindrance to that. Also giving King Shark a gun. Like he's a shark, he probably doesn't need the gun. But like, I'm giving everyone a gun. That was it. But like, just the making it around. Oh, I can make my gun pink instead of what cool shit can I do as a superhero or like an anti-hero or villain. Like like the Avengers thing again, battle passes, live service. If you build a game like Spider-Man, that it's a self-contained story that doesn't try and leech off you in the same way, and it's actually well designed for the love of the game, rather than how can we make this money, then they might work, might they? I mean, look at the classic Spider-Man games on the 360. They still not hold up in terms of like people still want they're worth money because like you can't get them, but also people want to play them because they were pretty decent. I mean, which one is it? Shattered Dimensions, where you get to play as Noir one and do all sneaky. That's such a good game. I love that one. But like, there's some real good games out there in amongst the Captain America and the Thor and the ones that are all just cash-ins. Like there were no Spider-Man films that lined up with those Spider-Man games, but they still just popped them out because they were really good.
I think the Spider-Man's like Spider-Man's like Batman though, isn't it? It's like people who don't like superheroes are still fans of like Spider-Man and still fans of Batman. It sort of transcends that. But people who are really into Marvel movies be excited about a Black Panther game potentially, but people who don't really care about Marvel are not going to buy it, or they don't like. So they might be going through the sort of superhero fatigue, but everyone fucking loves Spider-Man. So it's just one of those ones. It's a bit like, oh yeah, you can always make money off Batman. You can always make money off Spider-Man because they're not just for people who like comics. They're just now so ingrained into the cultural zeitgeist because they've made so many movies and TV shows and cartoons and stuff of them. So it's a bit. I think those ones might be a bit different, but.
I was going to make the point as well, just about kind of EA with licenses, just generally, the amount of balls they've dropped with licenses over the last few years. So obviously this one we've now talked about at a bit of length. They big time messed up with the Star Wars license over the last few years. That's one that they made some issues with. And Battlefront 2, that was just an absolute disaster when that came out. Actually having a resurgence at the moment. Apparently, it's one of the having like a real
player count on Steam or something. Yeah, crazy.
Something like that. It's insane, but God knows how that happens. But yeah, they messed that one up. There's the Rally Games WRC that they've recently bollocksed up as well. And then obviously they lost the FIFA license, but I mean, as a football nut, if they told FIFA to F off, I wouldn't blame them because FIFA are a disgrace of an organisation. But obviously they went away and made FIFA with all but the name anyway. But they've just got a real bad track record with licenses, and I don't know. Maybe they think they're bigger than some of these people. I don't know. I don't know what goes on, but it's a very interesting. I'm sure someone could write a cracking thesis on it.
They had it all at one point. They had all the right studios for it. They had their BioWare to make Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that. they had everything they needed, and then of course the pursuit and the constant trickle and the line needing to go up with live service and multiplayer and online games was what obviously took over. So yeah, unfortunately, as we've all basically summed up perfectly, it is this, awful situation of, sorry, new studio, or, even, long time veteran studio, much beloved, with those people that people recognize. They've been working on an excellent, exciting new game for the last 2 to 3 years. We didn't sell enough FIFA cards, so you're going to have to shut down. Not their fault. They're going to stick around. They're going to keep doing what they do. They're going to just, it'll be fine, but you have to go, I'm afraid. Even despite the fact that this game that you're releasing would have probably made money, and we just would have had to wait a little bit more time to get it. But we can't make cuts elsewhere, of course. It's going to have to be you with your unproven project that we've already poured millions, hundreds of millions into. But ultimately, yeah, FIFA cards.
We don't see a path for microtransactions in this game, so sorry, it's cancelled.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
It's very sad, and thankfully, we've seen the stories of certain things that have gone through the changes to try and rectify those situations. I think, wasn't it Veilguard went through that, and I think Avowed as well. I think at a point was meant to be like more like multiplayer kind of orientated or something like that. I can't remember where I've heard. One of those two definitely went through some.
Veilguard would have been, and
Dragon Age
Dragon Age Inquisition was supposed to be like a MMO, and when you play the game, it sort of, you can see, and it did have a multiplayer component for some reason.
Yeah.
And then they then discussed the Veilguard being fully multiplayer,
Right.
and then they were
That's
like,
probably
no,
why
it's single player, and then they were like, oh no, maybe multiplayer again,
Yeah.
and then they just sort of changed the vibe completely from all previous Dragon Age games, which was also a bit strange. So yeah, it was just a weird one because they couldn't really decide what they wanted to do with it, I think.
And that was EA again. So there we are. It's.
But like, and then amongst all of that nonsense, like games like Lost in Random get released, and Lost in Random gets a sequel, and you're like, what? Like how?
And they have the EA Originals plan with Hazelight, one of the greatest studios around right now, and yet.
And just not a snifter of microtransactions. Like Joseph, what's his face? We'll just tell you to F off if you tried that.
Yeah, Joseph Barris. He clearly. I think there's no doubt in my mind he's told Andrew Wilson to fuck off. Absolutely no doubt in my mind.
I wonder if he's like just hit him, because I would.
Yeah.
Just be absolutely not. Get the fuck out of my office. Like,
yeah.
I just haven't forgiven EA for Bullfrog, to be honest.
Let's not upset ourselves by going too back into the annals and bring up all of the studios we've lost along the way. We won't do an in memoriam here, but of course, our thoughts go out to obviously all those affected by what's happened at Cliffhanger Studios and with the Black Panther game and everything like that. We wish you all the best, and know that you'll go on to do amazing stuff. Whether it's in the industry or elsewhere, you're incredible and talented people, hardworking and passionate. You will find something, no doubt in my mind. So yeah. Before we finish the show, I think we're gonna take us. We're gonna stick to the same tone, but we're gonna go for a more national, regional pivot here. So I'm afraid, international audience, you're gonna have to put up with 4 Brits who are now going to bitch and moan about one of the only game merchant game sellers in the country, just stepping on rake after rake after rake after rake. For those who aren't aware, Game, as it is so just perfectly named, is a retailer here in the UK that obviously, well, at one point used to stock video games. What it stocks now is, well, board games and Barbie dolls and NFT card
it's owned
bollocks.
by Sports Direct now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Mike Ashley, who owns half the high street.
Talking about asshole CEOs.
Yeah, seriously, from Wilson to Ashley, we're really, the cream of the crop here. But yes, unfortunately, they have had to put out a notice to inform a certain percentage of their pre-orders, customers who pre-ordered the Switch 2, that they've had to cancel their pre-orders. And of course, there were written apology and all the rest of it, but otherwise, that's it.
Before launch.
So, as I can imagine, there'll be plenty of people out there who are absolutely furious, and that's probably no change of state, frankly, from how most people feel about game. They are, frankly, absolutely bloody useless, and three of us here can attest to that on the other side of the counter as well. Yeah, we've all been through it here, pretty much. Is anybody surprised at this? I mean, we all experienced it when we were there anyway, so like, I don't think so. I'm just like, what the fuck?
I don't know what people's like, how long people worked there and stuff. I worked there for 13 years. Yeah. I was like my second job. I started in
Jesus.
I enjoyed it so much that I worked at Christmas when I was working another full-time job, and I went back for Christmas temping at weekends because I enjoyed it, and I wanted to be extra money and all that sort of stuff, and I wanted the staff discount, obviously. But I also went back because I enjoyed the people I worked with. The same people were still there, so I just carried on going because it was a fun place to be. You learned stuff, you knew stuff, you could advise people. You were the specialist retailer. And I started, it was electronics boutique, and then it changed to game. And it was just a place people come. There's always issues. They'd send you a big ass box, a big ass delivery box, and there's one SD card in it. What are you doing? Like, it was stuff like that. Always those little bits where you're like, what is going on with this nonsense, right? Or like, I remember sending that off to get repaired, and they've sent it back to me. It's exactly the same. I'm not selling that because it needs to go to actually be repaired and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, good God, like, you can't. Like, I am surprised by this, the Switch 2 thing, because I've long held the thought that game would stop existing after the next gen hardware release. They would exist until they could cash in on the physical sales of the console, because you need people to. One of the best ways to guarantee a new console is to go in and pre-order it at your store. Yeah. And as a specialist retailer, I'm starting to use quotation marks around that. Priority for the allocation. That was always the case, because Game was the specialist retailer. They got the most stock than anybody else. As they would get maybe 2 copies of a game, Game would get 300 of Call of Duty or whatever else. So they get more copies because they were the specialist. Game exclusive stuff, all that sort of stuff. They had to mark it down on it. And they bought Game Station, so they literally had everybody. Like, everyone else got pittance compared to it. And it just, I thought they were going to be in for the hardware. Get Switch 2 money, get PS6, get Xbox, whatever name it's called, money, and then they go, oh well, we can't make any money from the actual hardware, we've ditched pre-owned, we would only make money from digital stuff, so we'll still sell the codes, and we'll just make it a shelf at Sports Direct or whatever, and that would be it. You wouldn't get them anymore because it'd go all digital after that, and you'll have a console wild into your brain or whatever in the future, so you won't need brick and mortar stores or whatever. That's what I thought were going to happen. Like, to not be able to even do the hardware launch, because we fucked it with the pre-orders, guys. Like, honestly, oh, Jesus Christ! Like, from where we come from, you used to take pride in. Like, you used to tell people. I'm going a bit of a rant. This is what it is. So you used to tell people.
I told you, people. I warned you. I did say.
Come in, and people look at you, and you go, it's £2 to pre-order a game, or £5 to pre-order a game, or you put your deposit down, it guarantees you a copy. It was almost like the Nintendo Gold Seal, you guaranteed a copy. Why were we taking your deposit money? People always go, oh, why do you have to put money down to pre-order? Like, because it guarantees you a copy, so you know your copy's going to be here. You can bloody get it. If you just pre-ordered it for free, we get 1 billion copies that we don't sell. Hello to human. And then we don't sell it, and then the game flops, and we're just sitting on 300 copies for fucking ages because everyone's just putting in free pre-orders. So help guarantee the thing, and then it was saved for you 48 hours. You don't come in, it's your own damn fault because we told you, we rang you. But like, that were it, and now you can't even. No one's gonna have trust in them now, are they? Who's gonna buy? I wouldn't. Like, I got my PS5 and my Xbox Series X from Game, and it was like surefire. When everyone was selling out, I was like, I know the best way to get this. I'm gonna go into Game, and I'm gonna pre-order it, and I'll guarantee it. And I did, and I got it. brilliant. They'd like, whatever. Now I'm not going to do that. I've got my Switch 2 from Amazon, and that's what it's driving you to. We shouldn't celebrate the death of game.
No.
Well, we should because it's shit now. But like, we need brick and mortar stores because if there's people who care about physical stuff. Where are you going to get it from? Amazon, who'll go, oh, well, that's a limited run game, so we're not going to bother now, or it's going to be even more hard to get. So you're just going to only get from the big faces, mega corporations that exist because they're chasing a dollar.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on, but I won't.
You said that they're
You've
going to be
took me back on
limited
so
to
many
like a
things on
shelf in Sports Direct, but that's what it is in Sterling. It's like there is no game in Sterling. It's like over the back of the menswear section. Like
I went to the Money League and they moved it up to. They used to be on the first floor and it was all proper set out and stuff. And they moved it to the top floor. It looked pretty impressive. They got one of those gaming arenas where you could play. You could pay money to play on a gaming PC that don't work properly because they've ruined everything about it. But like. The setup is pretty nice, but on the lift they've just written it on in marker pen on the lift to say it's on the 4th floor. Like game was here. Like so it's just you go in and there's more merchandise than there is. Like there's more soft toys than actual games. Like what is going? I said I'd stop. I'm just sorry. Fuck's sake is what I'd say.
Mark, how do you feel about it all?
Ali's just took me back on so many things there. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past game calling customers who they've cancelled pre-orders for and still trying to tell them a fucking extended warranty on it. Like, honestly, they're bonkers company. I really wouldn't put it past them. Like, but you're right. And I think the UK games industry grew on game, and obviously things have moved on. We live in the digital age. But there is still a lot of people, self-included, like big fans of physical media, and you think they should be the cornerstone of that. Like over here, like supermarkets are moving away from having games in. I don't think Tesco do anymore. Sainsbury's don't. August, no, Asda, non-existent. So you basically got Smiths, CEX, and Game. And Game is a toy shop now. It basically is Smiths. Apologies to American audience. That I wouldn't know what the comparison would be for you to listen.
Just look up an English high street. We're just naming brands at this point.
But I just feel for the people that and if you pre-order a console, which these days is not easy, it can be a real pain in the ass to get a pre-order for a console. Once you get that pre-order locked in, you expect that you're going to get that console. And if somebody lets you down, that you're never going to give them any money again. Absolutely no chance. I mean, Game may not be around long enough to give them any more money anyway. And this is just another nail for the coffin. But I think it's a sad state of affairs. Like obviously this instance speaks for itself, but I think just generally Game is just not in a good way. And I mourn the good times there, and the good times that it gave to gaming here in the UK. They were really, really good.
Yeah. It was once sort of like a blockbuster or that sort of thing where it meant something to a lot of people. It was a place that you go and see your friends and meet up and hang out. You think about what game you're going to buy, see if you can afford to get maybe one of the deals 3 for 20 in the pre-owned or something like that. Have a great gaming weekend based off picking out some random crap you've never tried before, but hey, it's in a sale, why not? Give it a go. No more, sadly. It's sad to see those days go, and it's sad that it's happening in this sort of way, in this really slow, kind of drawn out death. Which is very, very uncertain.
So that the CEO or whatever he's called at Sports Rec can go, it's not working as a business. I'll liquidize it for tax purposes or whatever and get rid of it.
It's all because I'm going to say this, but we're not going to go into it because it's another half an hour conversation. But basically, because he owns so many different companies, because he owns like Fraser's, he owns Sports Direct. These again, sorry, international audience, lots of English brands or European and UK brands. But basically, lots of different types of shops, department stores that all carry different stock, and he just then moves the stock between them all, and will change prices, change quantities, change the availability, and that's what they do basically. So he owns, like Menkind or one of those sort of, kind of gadget stores, basically one of those other chains, and so a lot of that stuff started getting shoved into Game as well. It was like, oh, men play video games. Oh, they'll also want, a light up, tie to wear at a Christmas function or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what are we doing here? But again, it was just because he bought all this stuff and was able to then just keep shifting the crap round, basically. And obviously then he's consolidating it down into putting game retailer into Sports Direct, which for those people who haven't worked out, yes, is a sports goods retailer. That perfect combination. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, to be sure.
I know I've said a lot about this, but just one more thing. It's because I know quite a story that people have, like gamers. I speak like us, the kind of community that what we would call ourselves gamers, really looked down on game for a long time. And I've seen it on about GameStop and stuff like that in America. And like, yes, shitty practice. Here's a billion games. We'll give you 10 pence for it and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I get it, but you know where to find a good deal. You know where to find your cheapest games. You know about CD keys and places like that where you can get your cheap games. And that's fine. Maybe game isn't for you, but you're always there when you want to trade your games in and then get the new one because you had some stuff to trade it and all that sort of stuff. So I'm calling you out on that. But places like that aren't necessarily for you. They're for people who come in and go, I want Call of Duty. Okay, which one? Yes. Like they don't know. They're coming in, they're looking for advice and guidance.
yeah.
Is it on Xbox or PlayStation? Yes. You need to help me out here. Like it's those sorts of kids who don't know the parents, the grandparents who are buying it for the kids, who are coming shopping, who need help and guidance. Are you sure you're buying the right thing if you just go on Amazon and search for an Xbox? If you search for an Xbox, what comes up? Is it an Xbox One? Is it Xbox One X? Is it an Xbox Series? Is it Xbox Series S? Do you know which one you're buying? Are you buying an original Xbox? Like, they help you find the right things that you're looking for. What's the latest thing? What's the newest game? All that sort of stuff. And specialist advice and guidance you can't get in the street because the people that do still sell them don't know about it unless you're going somewhere with a dedicated section like Smith's maybe know a bit more, for example. But where you get it, automated chatbots, emails, that sort of stuff, it's not the same as talking to someone, and you need that if you don't know this sort of stuff. Otherwise, you buy the wrong thing, and then amount of times I've heard somebody coming over and telling me that they've ruined the Christmas. Like, well, you told them that you wanted the wrong thing. It's not my fault.
All right,
yeah, ruined my kid's Christmas. Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
You were the parent, they probably already ruined.
No, I can attest that it's definitely going to be the parents' fault in that situation from my Christmas in 2011 when my mum bought me a copy of Skyrim instead of Skyward Sword because she went into game and said, game with Sky in the name, and the guy was like, must be fucking Skyrim. Like,
yeah.
But
that's fully on my mother. Like, and I do have 900 hours in Skyrim, so maybe he was right.
Yeah.
Well, another one out. You need another one.
Yeah.
The kid thing as well. So I know we're kind of starting to run quite long in this segment, but I think that's a really important thing. So occasionally when I pop into game, normally it's for a bit of a chuckle for the demise, if anything, but it's always full of kids, and these kids have got pocket money, birthday money, Christmas money. Yeah, that's not a lot of money to these big companies. I get that, but like they are like the next generation of people that are going to play games. So if they've they haven't got access to a credit card to go on Steam and buy what they want, I'm sure the parents will help them out if they wanted to, but like it's a generational thing, and if you want kids to grow with something, then you need it to be visible to them in the spaces that they go. Same logic applies to clothes stores that kids go to. They want things they see on shelves, but if they can't see something in the physical realm, then I just think it's a negative thing for the next generation of gamers. But maybe that's getting a bit too deep.
Going to loop it all back to what we were saying earlier on about all the games in the bloody showcases. If you could see those games on the shelf and look at the back of the box and read what it's about because you've missed it in the billion videos that have gone around all the internet, then you might, I might pick that up and try it out. How many times have you picked up a game in the past and gone, I'll give that a go. It sounds all right, because you've looked at the fucking box.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't do that. Like, if you just happening about stuff, you're not walking through as they're going, I might buy this game. So, I'm gonna try that fucking parsley or whatever. I don't know.
Specifically.
And I think on
From
that
the many
note,
varieties of parsley.
I got making a good point. So I said parsley. I was gonna say like some old El Paso. It's parsley. I don't know.
Oh dear. Before we completely fall apart, let's let's round out the show with what we're looking forward to. We basically did this earlier, obviously, because we're all going to be so busy with the showcase and stuff like that. But is there anything that anybody wants to highlight? Or do we want to do any other little fun predictions? We did a couple last week. Does anybody feel like adding another one to the pile? Adam, go on.
Not a prediction, but I really had a good idea for a fun way to say Night Rain, which is like Avenged Sevenfold. Let's go. No!
Oh, I love the fact that Discord just cut that out.
It doesn't come through. It doesn't come through.
But no, that Elden Night Rain, because it's out now as of a minute ago, which is very exciting. And Switch 2 is out next week, which just keeps passing me by. If I'm honest, I keep forgetting that it's out in a week. A new console.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like it's happening really, but hey, I think that's a statement more about the state of the world than actually the games industry on its own. And Nintendo certainly have not done anything wrong to make it happen. They've done what they always do, which is make some weird ass decisions. But that's Nintendo. You're in for the ride if you know what you're getting into there. But yeah, we will no doubt be talking more about all the showcases as time goes on. We will obviously be covering them as best we can on the site. So please do go over and take a look at the site there for all our press coverage of those events. And the regular news, reviews, previews, editorials, guides, and interviews that we might get up to along the way. If we can squeeze those in somewhere, we'll do it. But yeah, that has been another episode of the Gamer Social Club Weekly News Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for joining me again. It was great to have a full team back. We are all going to be having a meeting to discuss our plans for June now with the rest of the GSC team, which is going to be very interesting. So yeah, we'll be sticking on to do that. But you can all now go off and enjoy yourselves. Go and play some great video games. Take care of yourselves. Look after each other, and we will see you all soon. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.